We are starting a little bit late because I had trouble getting my project. Wait, where is it? My project to open up. It's been a bit of a nightmare all day, but here we are now, so all should be good. Let me just check if YouTube is receiving my stuff. It seems like it is. So we're doing some more of the stage 3 stuff today. I figure it's good to finish this stuff up before we go back to the level design. It's also a nice little shake up to do something like in the middle of it. So I had some trouble today where the project wouldn't open up, and I was kind of panicking there a moment ago when the project was having trouble again opening up. But this time it was just because it was already running in the background, so I couldn't build it because of that. Sometimes I'm just a bit of an idiot. But I had a problem where it wouldn't open up the project anymore because it would crash on startup, and it had to do with the state trees. And it had specifically to do with the state tree reference in one of my blueprints. So what I did, one of them clearly was just like kind of corrupt. So what I did is I just rebuilt them all. And when rebuilding them, I added this inactive states to all of them as well. I've been playing around a little bit with all this today. And I'm also now using some transitions that are, not this one. Well, I suppose this one actually. I'm also now using some transitions that are event-based. So you can actually do some pretty cool stuff, I figured out today. So let's open up my enemy base. Because we're going to be needing that probably today anyway. So I have two of these events that I sent through to the state tree component, right? So when my character dies, I just send through a event with the tag named enemy.death. And then the state tree itself is whenever it is in anything under active, its transition on event. When it gets an event with event.death, it transfers the state to being inactive. And then when it is inactive, when it gets an event with enemy.activate, it transfers it to active, and then like the rest of the logic can take it from there and see what substates we should be running. So that way it doesn't need to anytime I want to like check for a state that should switch back and forth. I don't need to always be doing that on tick like I have been. With this passive and this aggressive, I'm just checking, hey, can you see the player? Yes or no? And whether or not you have a certain ability system component tag, yes or no. And that dictates going from passive to aggressive and back and forth. I'm going to keep that on tick because it does both of those things at the same time. And maybe like it can see the player, and then a couple of ticks later, it loses the tag, and then it should switch. If I make this event based, it's going to be a little bit of a mess. But for things like this, where it just when something happens, like it activating, right? I have these actors existing in the world. At some point, they become active, then this stuff starts running. Or the other way around, when I make them inactive, presumably mostly when they die, that kind of stuff, they go to inactive so that they stop running any sort of behavior. That stuff doesn't need to like bog down my stuff by running every frame. That just needs to happen when they get sent that event. So that's actually quite nice. I haven't really looked around what the payloads can do, but presumably these payloads can do things like setting these parameters so that you can send through events with information and like do stuff with them. I assume. Can I like split this? Oh, then we have. Ooh, what the hell? What even is any of this? I guess we make this instance trot. Okay. I don't think we're going to be like working with this today, but I'm kind of curious as to what this is about. So what I'm guessing this does is this is just a wildcard, right? So I can literally put anything I want in there. Like the ignore GUID check, maybe? No. Hmm. I'd have to look more into that, I think, at some other time. Because we do have, not a task in here, we have these payload structs. So it probably has to be one of these structs that we have here, which there's a lot of them, to be sure. I guess just like floats isn't a struct, right? So you can't just send through a float, which is a little messed up. I wonder if it allows you to, like, is this just a predefined list of structs, or is this just like all the structs in your projects? I'm not seeing any of the structs that I made, so it's probably just a predefined list. I don't know. Doesn't really matter. So that's what I've been playing around with today. And now we're going to do the rest of these enemies. So we have this one, and this one already done. I've also been playing around a little bit with setting up the movement again for the flying enemies. And it's not been going well so far, I'll say that. Because the navigation that I had, I think I've talked about this before, the navigation that I had didn't work with streaming levels. So I'm going to fall back on a like line trace based system where it checks the direction that it wants to go, and then it checks whether or not there's like obstacles in the way, and if there's obstacles in the way, it obviously goes a different direction, which is a little bit less intelligent, but I have no idea how I would even make a custom 3D pathfinding. I don't even know where to start, so I'm not going to do that. For now, though, this is just going to be a stationary thing, and then we need to do these things as well. So I'm thinking let's start with the zombie, because it's actually, I think, pretty straightforward how that works. So we have your BT. That's not how that works at all. That's right. We need to open up the class, which has a... Why does it have all these? Oh, because of this. Because of this, yeah. I remember now. I should profile how much this like impacts performance, because I can definitely see that this might take quite a bit if I spawn a couple of them in. Not the issue right now though. So let's go to the fuck. You're supposed to have a BTS David player, right? No, because I removed that. That's true. But we still have this, so there we go. So this effectively is the same thing, I think. So we have this do ability. Why did it clear out these abilities? That's really annoying because I don't remember what ability goes where. I also feel like this is missing some stuff. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like that's missing some stuff. Can we just view all behavior traits on my project? There we go. If we look at this, the abilities out of this one are also cleared out. What the hell happened with these ability nodes? Like they're broken anyway now, which is not good. I don't know what happened there, but it's going to be annoying because I was going to use that. But yeah, so what we have here is we pretty much have if the player distance is less than a greater than 1,000, it does a different attack. So and it has a random chance to do that, and it has a cooldown. So here we need to start worrying about cooldowns again. Fantastic. Okay. How do we do that? how do we do all of that? I don't know. This first part is not that difficult, all right? So let's get that going first, and then we'll figure out the cooldown as we go. That's bosses. I want ground enemies. Let's just copy over the demon real quick, and we'll call that zombie. And the basic attack is pretty simple to set up. We just go back into the attack task, and we this time make it the zombie attack, and it has a left and a right attack because everything needs to have a left attack and a right attack to make my life more difficult. Then we also have the dive attack now. So this is, I guess what we do is we do the same thing that we did for the Reaper, which has a teleport attack. It's essentially the same thing, where we just after it waits, it just has a X percentage chance to move into doing like its special attack, which is diving down and starting to move toward the thing. But that's all like gameplay ability stuff. The behavior doesn't need to worry about that. So effectively what we do is we just copy over the attack state. Let's call this dive attack. We'll do zombie dive. And here the transitions, we just add a new possible transition, which I think it needs to be on top because I think it does them in order, but I really should test that. That goes to dive attack, and dive attack when it is done just goes to wait until like after attack, and then it does its thing, right? And its conditions here are first and foremost a random chance. Well, it's first and foremost the cooldown, I would say, but we'll worry about that in a moment. And I want to say this also like has a 20% chance. We're just going to go with 20%. We might tweak it later, but for now it's a 20% chance. So that's pretty much like all there is to that. Now we need to do the cooldown. So I'm saying let's put it off. Let's do that some other time. Some other time is actually right now, turns out. I'm kind of shocked that there isn't a built-in cooldown. Not gonna lie. Let's just double check if I didn't just like overlook it. I guess we can pretty like hard code this if we need to, where we just have a cooldown ticking up on the character class itself in the tick, and just compare that with a float, right? But I feel like that's a little not great. So I'm gonna Google if somebody else has run into this issue. Unreal states trace transition on cooldown. I guess what I could do, if I can't make a cooldown for the transition, I can make a cooldown for the ability instead. I prefer not to, because of the way that one of the bosses that I have should work, ideally. But I can just make an ability, like a cooldown on the ability, and if the ability like fails because of that, it probably still just goes through and ends the task. So maybe. Does anybody have like this question? Behavior tree? Nope. There's not a lot of people like doing stuff with state trees. It seems like, which is annoying. All right, let's test a couple of things. Watching with interest in how you handle state trees. So far, I have not died yet, which is a good start, let's say. I hope that maybe we can just make a like condition. And we can call this a state tree condition cooldown. What I'm kind of hoping is that these conditions are just like objects that persist after they've been like used. Because otherwise it would need to like spawn in a new object every time you do this, which it might do that, but it might not. And if it doesn't do that, well, no, we can't actually do that because this doesn't have some event. I guess we can set a timer. Yeah, let's try to do that just to see if that works. So we have a cooldown time, and then we have off cooldown. And whenever we receive this condition, we set off cooldown to false. Then we set timer by event with a cooldown time that needs to be exposed. Let's set a default value for that at like 2 seconds. We can't set values because it's a read-only function. Okay. I'm guessing this entire object is read-only then, right? So we just make a different function. That's also going to complain at me. Ooh, it might not. Set cooldown false. This might still be a problem. Yeah, doesn't like me doing that. Okay. So then how else would we do this? Yeah, get description isn't going to do anything for me. I guess we do just hard-coded on the character class, but I really don't want to do that because I'm going to have to do that on like 50 different, well, not 50 maybe, but a lot of different characters. Let's just see if ChatGPT has any IDs. I don't think it will because its data set probably doesn't include a lot of state tree related stuff. Making a state tree AI in Unreal Engine, and I needed to have a condition to move between states that relies on a cooldown. Any idea how I can make that happen? Because there is no default cooldown condition like I would have with a behavior tree. Okay. State tree condition. Yeah, that's good. In your state tree schema, add a float variable called cooldown end time. This will store the timestamp when you I can't write anything there. So maybe go fuck yourself. It even says override the test condition. Well, receive test condition. But I can't write any variables in that condition though. Oh, that's not a bad idea. Okay, so what we can do is we can make a task that will set the cooldown. I think. Question is, how do we do that? Because can we get pointers to? We might be able to. I don't think maybe within Blueprint we can though. Which would be annoying. Add a float which is cooldown end time. Yeah, this variable will store a timestamp. That's sure. Override test condition, but only read the data. Get time seconds with cooldown end time. Yeah, that. But now, how do I like set the cooldown end time? Yeah, it's kind of it's not doing it. Yeah, I know I can make a parameter. The thing is, setting these parameters through code is a massive pain in the ass. It's kind of weird about it because, like if I make one of these things here, right? So this would be like, hello, dive cooldown end time. Like I can set this in the editor, but I don't need to be able to set this in the editor. I need to be able to set this through a different task. Which is the issue because I can make. I can try. Do we just have a pre-existing task to like set stuff? I don't think we do, right? Nope. What I'm going to do now is probably not going to work. Yeah, it's kind of weird that it's not a thing in by default, having like a cooldown for a transition. Um, so what type of variable was this? So this is a state tree property reference. Oh, hold on. So we might be able to do it that way. Yeah, okay. So that might be the way we do it. So that might be a variable type that we, yeah. Yeah, behavior trees do have it, but state trees are a little bit weird in that they don't for some reason. We can make this work. So let's make a task, which is in here. And I guess we can just make this task effectively like setting anything, right? So this will be a state tree task for set param. And if I understand this correctly, on enter state, State tree had like something with state tree. I already forgot. Will all these are like objects anyway, so might actually not be as easy as I thought. Yeah, this might be an issue. Bind state tree property ref to value from another property. Supported types are scripts of vector arrays. So the reason I can't just do a float before anybody, it's just not on the list now. I can't just do a float because that sends through a copy, not a reference. Before anybody asks that, because surely somebody would. And I, in Blueprint, can't just say that this is a pointer. So like in C++, I probably could. So maybe I need to do this in C++. But maybe there's a better way to do this. Unreal state trees, set parameter from task. Let's see if anybody has any ideas on that. State tree variables. How to assign state tree parameters at runtime. As far as I know, parameters are set once read-only data. I mean, they're not, though. Make a task, global task, or evaluator where the variable will be calculated. Make the variable in this object. Make it instance editable, or in C++. Move it to the output category. Oh, that's the thing, isn't it? Yeah, that's the thing. It looks for this, I think. I remember something about that. We might be onto something. Yeah, so this is an output parameter now. But what the fuck do we do with that? Because it's because now we don't do anything with it. Must be spelled correctly, won't work otherwise. Add task behavior to your behavior tree. If you did everything correctly, should say gray bubble saying out, and you won't be able to bind the variable. Yeah, so what the fuck is the use of this? Oh, you can then read, yeah, you can then bind stuff to, yeah, but you still can't. Okay, hold on. This might still work. You can make it use it in a transition. Yeah, so now I can like use that value as like, so this would be cooldown end time, right? That's that. I need to set cooldown and time. I would prefer to be able to, I guess we can like add a tag to it or something. For now, we don't really need to do that. And then we can go back into here, like on this state completion, I'll just set this to 1 so that we can test the cooldown itself. And then we need to make a thing specifically for this, probably. We can't just do a float compare. Yeah, because then we would need to, yeah, so let's make a condition specifically for that. Yeah, so the transition will then check whether or not the current world time is, and we need to like actually set this in here before I forget as well. So cooldown end time would be, it's called world time. I forget what it's called. Get total seconds, maybe. Does anybody know the name of that function off the top of their head? Unreal get world time. Game time, that's it. Thank you. Get game time in seconds. So we do game time in seconds plus another variable, and that variable will just be cooldown time. World delta seconds. No, you don't want to do world delta seconds. That is the delta time from like the last frame. That's not like that's not going to help me. But yeah, that will set this. I do need to, let's set this at a default of like 10 seconds. So yeah, that sets the cooldown time to whatever the current time is plus 10 seconds, and then I need to check this cooldown. We already have a thing that I made for that, so that's nice. And we'll need to call this the input category, I assume. So this will be input. I guess this will be world time. Now this is the cooldown and time. Is greater than or equal, or greater than itself is fine. Let's do greater than or equal just to be sure. The game time. All the way around. So we check if the game time is now surpassed that, and that's what we will return. So that should work as a cooldown. It's really weird that it doesn't just have this, right? I feel like I'm missing something, but it's kind of, it feels weird that this doesn't just like exist. But who knows? So oh no, that's the wrong thing. Which one am I looking at now then? I should be able to get that from there. That's what that's supposed to do, right? It's math, that's logic. The delay task. Oh, that's okay. So I think the issue might be that it's on this different thing. But if that's the issue, we can just do this. a little differently and we do this as an entry condition. Well, that's all the actor stuff. Yeah, so I still can't seem to be able to access like this cooldown end time value. Well, the nodes can bind to it, but they're not. I might just be misunderstanding how this works. Unreal state tree output params. Let's see. I don't think I quite like understand what the difference is between just a exposed variable on any of these tasks or something that is marked as an input, aside from like usability. Because that might be the issue that we're running into. Right, this. Now this is an input, so that should. And both floats. Doesn't show up here. Do what? How? Maybe I need to what? Oh, it's the wrong fucking thing. Hold on, I'm in the wrong state tree. But maybe the issue is that I needed to compile. Find location, property, reference results. Yes, I didn't bind that. That makes sense. Move to. Wait condition, cooldown, input property, cooldown end time. It's expected to have a binding. Yes, I know. Let's just delete this for now. Okay. Let's re-add it. Maybe now that I've compiled it, it will magically, like, see. I don't know why it would. That also needs to be that one right there. So yeah, binding. Can I now? Still not. Let's see if Unreal has documentation on this. State tree, input, outputs. Just to like explain what the hell this is supposed to do. Because I thought I understood this, but maybe no. Unreal state tree. They have like a state tree quick guide, right? Yeah. Does that show anything about inputs and outputs? I think it might. Let's use an integer compare. Did I seriously just like not do anything with that? Oh no, hold on, they just, okay, here we go. I'm going to put this on the main monitor so that we can all read this together. So we have something going on here, like the state tree. It's an evaluator in this case, but I'm sure same IDs apply. So this is kind of like bad, right? Because it says create a new variable, name it actor, go to the details panel, variable type, actor object reference, click on category and add context. And that might be how you like automatically apply the actor, so that I need to don't need to manually do that. I'm gonna do that in a moment. That's actually good. So that way this just uses the context actor to like immediately populate that, I think. Yeah, it seems like it. Okay. From the return value, nearest actor, name this variable spline actor and enter output for its category. So that way it does this on startup, but that's okay. We can just do this as a task. Maybe what it needs to do is maybe this needs to be a global task in order for that to work. How do I like call that? Let's just see, just to be sure, if so I can, yeah, I can now access these. Then I just need to figure out how I can like so yeah, when we enter this, we do ability and we like set cool and end time. Except that I guess we don't do that one, but we maybe. Okay, let's take a look at if I can find anything about global tasks, because that seems to maybe be the way to do this. Does this page say anything about global tasks? It does not. Unreal state tree, global task. But you can still do that other thing that we were trying to do before, it seems like. So let's go back to do that. It's called a property reference. Property reference. Stage 3 property ref. There we go. Okay, so that's still a thing that we can do. Finally. Okay, we got this moving now. Float property. what was I going to do? Like that's the that property reference. Set floats by do we need to set anything? Well, I guess we can just make this a float and then it makes this a float reference, right? So yeah, set floats. I don't think so. Set val by ref, and it's going to be this. So we don't need that anymore. This seems to be, I don't know if I want to say the way to do it, but this seems to be a way to do it. And then we finish the task. And I guess we also finish the task if this fails, but we just don't succeed. So it's called set cooldown enzyme, but what? It's supposed to have like different values now. Oh, this float property. Promote to variable. Dive attack cooldown. Okay, so then we set this to whatever this says, and then in here, before we like literally do anything, we just check cooldown enzyme in as that value. Right, so we just check the dive attack cooldown. Float property on global STT. Oh, yeah, that's that global thing. We can get rid of that. I need to look into how that actually works. So now maybe we have a cooldown, or maybe we don't. But I guess we're about to find out. So effectively, if I spawn these, they should all do that. Except that they don't, because the class doesn't have a reference to the thing yet. That's fair. Now they do. So let's spawn a couple of them. Then they will... Okay, now I'm confused. Give me the debugger. None of them are doing shit. Why is that? Because because it doesn't do its parent function for begin play. That still shouldn't stop them from wandering around, though, I think. So this might not fix anything. No, it fixed it. Okay. So yeah, they should all, after they move and they wait, they should all do that attack thing. But it seems like they're not eager to do so. Take a look at what state they're actually in. They're in passive wait. Oh yeah, no, that'll do it. Then we'll transition from wait into wait. No, transition into dive attack, please. Now when they get to here, let's set the cooldown to like 50 seconds, just so that I know that the cooldown thing is working. 50 seconds might actually still be too short. It takes a while for them to move and that kind of stuff. But let's see whether or not they do the dive attack first. Yeah, they do. All of them do. And they immediately do it again. Because oh, hold on. There's a couple of things going wrong here, I think. Number one is, I think the dive attack doesn't have the proper tag to go with it. I think it doesn't assign. No, it does. So that means that it shouldn't. Huh? Going into inactive. Oh, from passive. Yeah, now okay. Alternatively, after that, it just goes back into find location. So it tries to do this. If it can't, it does this. I think it is hierarchical like that, but I might need to. You can give them like priorities, right? I thought. Or maybe that's the. Where did I see the priority thing then? Transition to. Oh, there we go. So that's how that works. It doesn't have the priority. What the fuck? This one does. I guess they don't fall like the very like bottom of the hierarchy. Maybe. Because the moment I get to these, might also just be like a matter of like, no. Just for shits and giggles, if I add like a substate here, can I suddenly like, no. Why not? What is the difference between this and this? Aside from, is it just because OnTick? It's probably just because state. Yeah, if I move this to OnTick, yeah, okay, that's the issue. Okay. Yeah, so I'm just going to assume that this does it in a like chronological order. So if it can do this, it does that, and otherwise it moves on to this one where it goes back to find location. That's what I'm going to assume. I don't know if that's going to be the case, but that's what we're going to assume that. Let's also set the timer before the ability. We might need to make it a separate task because I think there's something weird happening with the tasks as well. As I think I ran into, where finish task doesn't just finish the singular task. but it goes and finishes the entire like state. It completes the state. So we might need to make that separate state, which is why like this waiting node exists separately from like move to location, which exists separately from find location, that kind of stuff. Mostly for like the attacking thing and such. But let's see if that makes a difference. It probably won't. It's probably all kinds of fucked. Anyway, you'll do your thing. Yeah, do your attack. It does it does the wrong attack. It does the wrong attack. Why does it do the wrong attack? Oh no, don't crash. Thank you. So while we're in this state, we can only go to wait till after attack. Unless this parent thing is fucking with me. But this should check whether it doesn't have a attacking tag. Right? Do I have this the wrong way around again? Because as it is in that diving state, it should have the tag that indicates that it is currently in the middle of an ability. At which point it shouldn't be allowed to, yeah, it shouldn't be allowed to do that. But it does do it. So here we fucking are. Activation own tags. Attack, yes. Move to actor, or 10 seconds, one way or the other. We then play this montage, which is supposed to be, yeah, that one where he does like both arms. And then it does like stuff. And it ends the ability only on complete, on blend out, on interrupt, or on cancelled. Yeah, so what's going on there? Well, I guess we can figure this out by just like doing the debug thing and checking just what's going wrong. I thought that this was going to be the easy one, but then I figured that, oh, actually, no, this thing needs a cooldown mechanic, and now here we are. So let's see. So yeah, both of those do that attack. Then they stop moving, and then when I get close, they actually like do the proper attack, which is super weird. I don't even know which ones those are. I suppose. Yeah, here. Wait after attack. Just attack. Chase. No. Do I even like even get to the dive attack at all? But they do is the thing, because they do that animation. So this is passive wait. Then it immediately goes into aggressive wait after attack. So the only way to get from there to there is to go through here. So this just ends instantly. And that is because we, yeah, okay. So what we need to do is we need to add a sibling state to this thing. And then when this finishes, we go to, it's called none at the moment. We'll fix that in a moment. And then after none, so none will do this. That's what I'm thinking. And then immediately go through to wait after attack. So that's the issue that I was just talking about, I think, where if you finish task, it actually finishes the entire like state, which is, I can only assume to be a bug. So set cooldown time. So we wait, we do the dive attack. After that's done, we set the cooldown time, which also works better to set the cooldown time at the end of the ability rather than at the like immediate start. So like this works better anyway. And then we go to waiting after attack, and from there we can like take it. Could do with a little bit of touching up some of the logic still, but okay. Do the right thing, you do the right thing. Now the question is, if I go far enough away, you start patrolling again, it's fine. Does the cooldown work? No, the cooldown does not work. Okay. Okay. Well, at least the basic idea works, it's just the cooldown that doesn't work. Look, for this enemy, I don't necessarily need a functioning cooldown. I can live without it having a cooldown on it. But for the boss fight that we're going to need to do at some point, it needs to be able to have cooldowns on abilities. So we set the cooldown timer to parameters dive attack cooldown. Is this? And then I don't think we're checking it. Whoops. Oh, we are. So we're checking the cooldown time, which is this like input thing. Whether or not the game time is greater than or equal to that. And the way we set it is, I guess the way we set it, we need to like make sure that it actually like gets. I guess we can just like get this reference again, right? It doesn't actually set a proper value there. It doesn't even run this at all. Or something going wrong there. Because I did take this off of a forum post of somebody that did this and it didn't work, so maybe I should have seen a potential issue with my logic in taking this as a solution. But this seems like it should work. So, but it doesn't. Wait, no, that did something. That print is a weird number. It's a weird number anyway because it was like 500 something. I haven't been playing for 500 seconds, surely. That didn't print shit. That didn't print shit. Yeah, so this doesn't seem to be working. What would that be? Just to be sure. Probably just need to put a breakpoint there and actually like start looking at the values themselves instead of printing stuff. Okay, so it just straight up doesn't run any of that. What? Okay, so how does that make sense? Because it does do this, and the only thing that this can do is move on to the cooldown time. And it has to print either one or the other. Um, I don't know what's going on. So I guess what I could do is make a global task that keeps track of these things, but no, that seems weird as well. Unreal, state tree timer. I'm thinking that the way that we're going to do this maybe is just to code this into the character classes itself, because I have no better way of doing this. It's kind of weird, right? That this is not a thing. Um, a lot of people are asking about this in behavior trees, but it's not difficult in a behavior tree. um, Anything about state trees on the forums also just tend to like not get replies, seemingly, so that also does not help. So yeah, this person is talking about behavior trees again. Do these things have tick? They have a tick. Okay, so if they have a tick, we can make a global task that just keeps track of those, maybe. So what I'm thinking, it's probably not a great idea, but what I'm thinking right now is making a task, statefree task, timer handler. I just want to test this. So let's make a variable, and that variable will be the timers. It's going to be string map with floats. How does it deal with this? That's what I wonder. So let's say we have the dive. And then with the cooldown time, instead of referencing this, we can maybe get this. This is my hope. So parameters, nope. We've kind of been too nice to be able to work that way. So that doesn't really do what I want to do either then. Let's just go through and see if I made a mistake, because there's every chance that I did, right? If cooldown and time, so that is game time, is greater than or equal to our countdown end time. Countdown end time is a input. And that is bound to parameters dive down attack. Let's see, whenever we run this, what the cooldown and time value actually is, because the default value for some reason is 2. I don't know why I set that up. Is it actually reading that value properly? Or is something going wrong there? So that's 0.0. So that doesn't make any sense. But at the, okay, so at the end it's like, it's 500 something, which is weird. It's also weird that it just randomly printed that again. Why does it print that again? Something is fucked. Look, I could very easily just add a cooldown through this. But I'm also kind of weirded out as to why it prints this at seemingly kind of random times, because this exists. That's on this, right? Yeah. So that only should ever happen at the end of wait. So why was it happening at seemingly other points in time as well? Oops, I might have spawned into a batch of them. None of this makes sense. Okay, let's take a quick step back. And just lose all hope. The forums don't really seem to give me anything. Let's see if Reddit might be this unsung hero here. Nope. Definitely not. But there's a funny person here. I'm ready to build an Unreal Engine. TLDR Unreal Engine is too complicated. I'm a solo dev weenie. Big round below. Yeah, that sounds like a you problem. Just doesn't want to work. Look, there's one fairly easy way to fix this, and that is to change this to zombie. Get rid of this, which means that this goes immediately into dive attack, and the cooldown is just going to replace with a bull compare, and the bull compare will be can dive. Oh, you can actually, I don't know that you could do that. You can get a get and set node at the same time. Nice. Custom events, sets dive cooldown. Delay. I don't like having to do this, by the way. But this will work. But it's like horribly hard coded, and for everything that needs a cooldown, I'm gonna have to do this on every like individual class. I don't like doing that. But I also don't think that I want to spend like I've effectively spent over an hour trying to figure this out so far, and I don't really feel like spending much more time on it at the moment. So we do the like zombie dive, and on and ability we already have a cast to the BP zombie because we need to like do some stuff with it anyway. So that's actually kind of fine. and we set dive cooldown on ability end. That's the easy way to do it. Because now we can just do that. Make a master state 3-task blueprint. Put the cooldown stuff into it. So it always runs the task, but it just skips everything else if it's on cooldown. Yeah, I don't like that either. But it's better. It's better than doing this. Yeah, let's give that a try. Day 3 task master. First and foremost, can I set stuff in this? I can. Okay. And this also has a tick, to be fair. I just don't know if it ticks. Yeah, it only ticks when there's an active state. So we can't use tick for that. So we still need to do. We still need to just set the. I don't think we even need like that bool, to be honest with you. We have the cooldown time and then we have the game time, right? And then we have the last answer. And we check if last answer plus cooldown time, which means that it doesn't work for the first X amount of seconds to begin with, but that's a compromise I'm willing to make. That might not work. No, the only reason that this wouldn't work is because it doesn't like use the same object for like all these tasks, which might be the case. But if that's the case, like none of this will work to begin with. Like if we check what the last time is that we executed the state to begin with, plus, and we add the amount of cooldown time to that, and we check whether that now is greater than or equal to the current game time. We can then, if it is, we set our last enter to the current game time. And if it is not, we finish our task unsuccessfully. And otherwise, we go on to like do anything that we need to do right there. So then, in the task for the ability, can get rid of these two. We just need to change class settings. State tree master. Equal to parent function. Zombie. And now this should have a... Why does that try to transition to set cooldowns? I might have just fucked something up there anyway. Should go to wait after attack. The do ability now has a cooldown time on it. Okay, so let's say that the cooldown time on this thing is 500 and the cooldown time on everything else is 0, right? So, okay. So we don't need to have this anymore on here. Nope, not duplicated. That makes it worse. We delete it. So we just do this random chance, and we'll set this back to like 20% in a moment once we know that this works. But yeah, now the ability itself has like the cooldown built into it. And assuming that that task is a like consistent object that doesn't get like destroyed or recreated. Oh, that means that actually for the first 500 seconds it cannot do it now. Yeah, I said that was a compromise I'm willing to make, but if it's a long cooldown, that might be not great. But that's easy enough to just make a bool for, right? So we set this cooldown trigger to true, and if the cooldown has not been triggered at all, we just bypass this check. So the cooldown has been triggered, we check this. If it's not been triggered, we do not check this. We just always do it the first time. Just set it to 20 seconds. Yeah, it's gonna get lower down anyway, but the thing is I want to make sure that the cooldown is long enough so that I can properly test it. Because I need to like get away, need to like make him do this thing, and then see whether or not he does the attack again. He does. Okay, so that still does not work. Okay, what would that be? It's probably because it actually does create, like, destroy the object and create a new one anytime it like finishes and restarts a task. I have to imagine that's what's going on, but we can check that. Oh, we're in the right thing anyway. We very much can just check that with a print string here. So the last and the first time that it does this, it will actually needed to not do that. The first time it will say 0 because last time we entered was at 0 because had never entered before. Then we will make it do the attack, and then now it should have a value for last time entered. It's 0 again. Okay, so it does create a new object every time it goes through. So this does not work. I was afraid that might be the case. It was worth a try. Would have been nice. But yeah, I think it just creates a new object every time. So that doesn't really work. And now I need to go back to whatever the fuck this was, which actually I can see in here. State tree task blueprint base. State tree task blueprint base. Okay. Why is this such a fucking pain in the ass? Yeah, we're gonna go back to just doing it on the on here, which is also better because that way it doesn't actually go into this state, which would also be kind of like annoying to deal with, which is also why I don't want to do it as a cooldown on the ability itself. So yeah, we just have this like can dive. So if it can dive, and it gets the random chance, then it does it. Otherwise, it doesn't. Oh, yeah, this should be can dive. Kind of lose my mind here. Can dive needs to be true. So yeah, now it'll be able to do it. Then it sets can dive to false, and then 500 seconds later it sets it to true again. So this should effectively be a good cooldown and save me having to actually make something good. I swear I'm going to figure this out at some point. But I think for now that this is way... Oh, can dive is set to false by default. So it's never going to do it. Well, at least we know that the bool is working properly, but its default value should be true. So I think our countdown or our cooldown works now. It's just... I need to like hard code it on every single thing that needs like a cooldown, for every single move that needs a cooldown. Anyway, let's make this like 30 seconds instead. So that's not ideal. And to be honest, we've been doing this for an hour and a half. We've got like half an hour left before I'm gonna like head out of here. I think we just stick with it. I think we stick with trying to figure out a different solution. We have this as a backup now. So if nothing else, by the end of the stream, we'll have something that works. But let's try to think about other solutions still. And by think about, I'm going to ask ChatGPT again. In Unreal with a state tree, I want to make a certain transition have a cooldown on it, so that after going through it, it can't allow that transition for a certain amount of time again. Add a float or a time variable. in your state tree, add a new cooldown time float variable. This will store the time when a transition becomes available again. The condition for the transition, add custom logic that checks the cooldown, compare get world seconds with cooldown time. When the transition occurs, set cooldown time equal to, I guess, what we might be able to do. Yes, I think this might actually. I think it might actually like work, right? Because what we can do is we can't set anything in these classes, in these condition classes, but maybe we can still property. Maybe we can still use the state tree property references, which would be would that have to be marked as an output? I need to like read up on how this input output stuff works, but Unreal refuses to provide anything related to it, so that's a little fucked. So what we do instead is we check whether or not the cooldown end time, which is actually this. Let's set this to a float. Okay. Can we get a property reference? Yes. If we succeed in that, we do this. If we don't succeed in that, we print condition failed. And then we also return false, I guess. And then the reference will be this. So we check if the game time is the property cooldown time or greater. And if it is, we set the property cooldown time. So we set var by ref to the current game time. So now it's, if this works, it's also all contained within within this one condition, which would be fantastic. And then we need like cool down time as a float. Which I guess we should then mark as an input, right? And this should be an output. I think. Yeah, so this kind of does the same thing, but I don't. It keeps track of a bool instead of a float. But the thing is, like, if this doesn't work, the bool version isn't going to work either, because the issue will be like working with these property references. But let's just go through real quick. So it checks if the property reference like can get it. Condition failed. If not, if it can get them, and the property reference is greater than or equal to. So this should return true, and if it is not, it will return false simply. So this should be the condition at this point. So let's change this again to the cooldown, where it has the cooldown timer input, which, oh, I don't think I want that to be an input. Cooldown property. Yeah, I'm messing a couple of things up here. Durability, which one is it? It's this one. Yeah, I think this doesn't need to be an input. I think what this needs to be is just default. So we can set this as a timer. So let's set this to 500. And then the countdown end time. Why do I have that in there? Are you even using that? I don't think I'm even using that. Yeah. Away it goes, I guess. So we have the property for it that keeps track of when it's going to be allowed. And then we have this. So yeah, I think that'll work. Or it won't. Both return nodes have false, do they? No, they don't. This one has false, but the top one is true. Okay. So the first one there, it does something. Then it properly does the attack. And then it does the attack again. Okay, so that still doesn't work. The question being is why? I guess what I want to know is what is the value of this in any case, where this happens. Zero, 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 that all makes sense. Let's trigger some attacks. Just one of them. The rest will follow in a moment. And at some point they will, yeah, so that's 12, 11, 12, 14. So that seems to... Oh, yeah, no, that's my bad. It should be setting this to the game time plus the cooldown timer, because we're not even using cooldown timer anywhere else. So that should be the value when it is next allowed to do this. But it does keep track of the value properly. So that much is clear. So that means that this should now work. Stop chasing me, please. I need you to not chase me for this behavior. So that's 0, 0, 0, 0, whatever. Trigger these attacks. And then you guys should be, for the next 500 seconds or so, yeah, okay, now you're just roaming around without doing that attack. We have our cooldown thing. It works. It's better than the other thing that I made. So let's fucking get rid of this now. I was just going to break that ability. Hold on. Yeah. Don't want that anymore. Okay, so what we have is some print strings that I want to get rid of. We have the cooldown property. We check if that cooldown property is gotten to begin with, otherwise we fail it. But if we do get it, we check if that value is greater than or equal to our current game time. If it is not, that means that the cooldown is still in effect, so we return false. But if it is, we set our new, at least be this time before you're allowed to do it. So our new cooldown, goal time, to the current game time plus the amount of cooldown that we need to work with, and then we return true. So now we can easily expand this into other tasks as well, without having to hard code it all over the place. The only thing that we need to add is the actual cooldown timer parameters, but you need to store this stuff somewhere anyway, right? So storing this here in the parameters makes sense, I would say. I might just make a standalone video on this, to be honest, because nobody seems to have the fucking answer to this, and this seems like a basic ass thing to have. How did you delete that thing? You mean deleting things while keeping the connections? That is just select the node and shift delete or shift backspace. Yeah, shift backspace. So holding shift and deleting it will connect up both sides of the node together, so you don't get this issue. Nice little thing to have. Also, a shortcut that I found out about today is if you select stuff and you press Q, it all lines them up, which is quite nice if you want to just line stuff up like this. Okay, but we have our cooldown working, so that means that this AI is finished as well now. It only took 2 hours. Aren't you proud of me? I think we might just leave it there, kind of, maybe. I guess we can try to do the behavior tree for this thing as well. Yeah, might as well. I think that's a fairly easy one too. Yeah. So it just if it sees you, it moves toward you. If it is within a certain range, it shoots you. So it's effectively the same, but actually an easier version of the other behavior traits that I have as well. Where did I put this shit? Oh, there we go. I think I put it on ground. Yeah. So it's effectively the same as the demon. I should really rename it from Golem. But it doesn't need any of the movement stuff, at least not for the time being, because I don't really have any movement stuff for it. And when I do, it's going to have to be its own task, most likely. I don't know how I'm going to deal with the movement for these guys. Yeah, but for now, they're effectively when they're passive, they're just kind of hanging out. So we can just get rid of this, and more or less, rid of this as well. Actually, you just make this a direct sibling. So if can see player is true and it's not currently attacking, then well, then it can go into aggressive, and aggressive is literally just instead of chasing, it just waits. We'll need to build this out a little bit more as I get back into implementing movement for him. But for now, it's just like a forever delay on both of these until we get close enough for him to shoot you, which is going to be like more than 200, right? Let's say that is like within 1,000 units. Let's say 750. Something is fucked. Aggressive cannot go back to passive because that doesn't exist anymore. So it just has to go back to wait. Yeah, I think that's kind of it. It also needs to do different attacks. I just realized. So begin play also needs to call to parent function. Then this takes the st colon. And then the attacks should be I think it's just a left attack and a right attack again, right? Yeah, shot left and shot right. I am so creative. Now, I don't know that these necessarily have the attack golem range. That is, yeah, okay. So now they do. Let's see if this works. If this works right at the bat, I'm going to be so happy. Of course it doesn't. Why doesn't it? I need to close a couple of these things down. Debugger. Yeah, so let's actually close a couple of things that I'm not using because this is a little messy. Reaper I'm not using. Zombie. We finally fucking finished the zombie. I'd like to think of it not as finishing the zombie character, but getting the cooldown functionality working, because that's going to be reusable now, which is really quite cool. So yeah, I'm going to put this on my other monitor real quick, just to be able to see things a little bit better. Because I need to be able to see what's going on when they spawn. So they're inactive, they're in the wait. They just don't leave wait. Okay, why would that be? Can't see player is true and doesn't have the attack tag. That seems correct. Oh, it's in state complete. Needs to run on tick. So now that it runs on tick, it's probably fine. Probably going to shoot me now, right? And there it goes, shooting me. So yeah, that's it's kind of that. Nothing much to it. I guess this instead of doing a delay forever task, what we can just do is we can do something that rotates it to the player, just to make it a little bit more I don't know, better, a little bit more better. Take 3 task, rotate to player, interp. And that's quite literally as easy as just, or to target. It should be rotate to target, but rotate to target interp. So yeah, all that this really needs to do is have like two variables. Well, actually, well, two variables is fine. Interp speed and target, which will be an actor. Get actor location. So we can call this context, I believe. And the idea is that if I now go back into here, and we go into here and we say, hey, it automatically populates this with the context actor. So I don't have to do that manually every single time. That's really nice. And then the target will be the target inside of the actor. And on the interp speed, let's say like 10 for now. I don't know if that's enough, but we'll see. So we'll get the lookout rotation, find the lookout rotation. Get lookout rotation also should just like get you that node. Or enter two constants. So the current one will be get actor row. Oh, that's, man. I've been coding too much today. Maybe I shouldn't spend half a day doing programming experiments before doing the stream, in which I'm going to do more programming. Kind of seems like that's maybe on me. I'm actually just split this up, right? Yeah. The only thing that we want to change about this is the yaw. This on the rule we'll take from this. Oh, and then we have the delta time and the interp speed. So yeah, that's all that needs to do. But now it should rotate toward me with interpolation, so that I can still like get out of its field of view and it doesn't like instantly. I guess it doesn't do that when it's attacking. So what it should really do is it should do that on the aggressive. Yeah, so this chase thing doesn't have any like reason to exist, does it? We can just like kind of copy this, put it on the parent aggressive state. Get rid of this. And then it just does attack and wait and attack and wait. And that's all that it needs to do for now, realistically. So yeah, wait after attack, it just goes back to attack. And because its parent is doing this the entire time, it will, even while it's attacking me, rotate toward me. So as long as it sees me, it's going to be theoretically. Interp speed of 10 is just too low. So let's set that up to like 60, maybe. Yeah, you see, it's following me, but I can still like get out of its field of view, and it won't be following me until something knocks me back into it, at which point it'll follow me. But yeah, I think that this is pretty good. I think they're also shooting each other. Hold on. Are they? Are they dealing damage to each other? I think they might be. Yes, they are. That's hilarious. Okay. I don't know that that's necessarily what I intended, but that's what they do. So, sure. Again, these are going to have more AI for like wandering. But I don't know how I'm going to do that yet. It's probably going to be a like state tree task that I'm going to make that does something like we can just, for the time being, what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to make a task that just directly like interpolates them from point A to point B. And for most scenarios where they exist, that's probably good enough, to be honest with you. So maybe I don't need to make anything more fancy than that. Yeah, I probably don't need to make anything more fancy than that, to be honest. So yeah, then what it would do is it would pick a random location around it. This is what it used to do, and it didn't really work that well with the behavior tree. But I think with this is going to work better because it has a more like proper tick. So it would pick a random location like around either its like origin point or its current location. It would do a capsule trace to that location. And if it just gets to that location without hitting anything, it just moves to that location. If the capsule trace, which has the same dimensions as its collider, hits anything, it just moves to the location that it hit something, and then in which case it will be like up against the wall. I might build in a little bit of buffer so that it doesn't go all the way up against the wall. And that way it can just like move in straight lines. And I think that is, for the most part, probably good enough. But that's not something that I'm going to do within the next like 15 minutes. We're not going to do that today. But that is probably the next step to do for like this, to make this work a little bit better again. But that's only like one or two tasks in this waiting state, which is then going to be back to like a proper like passive thing with substates and stuff. But we'll probably do that next week. Unless next week I'm going back into level design. But I kind of want to finish up all this stuff before I do that. And I might do some of this weekend off stream to just like finish this off so that we can do the bosses next week. Because I feel like the bosses are going to maybe be a little bit more work to properly do. And that also gives me an opportunity to maybe like rework some of the AI specifically for the first boss of the game, which is a little like stale and stiff. So that might be nice. One of his abilities is still fucked as well, so I don't know what we're going to do about that. But yeah, that's been it. It's been a wild one, but we have a cooldown now, which is great because again, if we're going to do the bosses, we definitely need to be able to put abilities on cooldowns. So I'm quite happy about all that. And yeah, you guys have a fantastic day, and I will be back next week on presumably Tuesday again this time because I beat